Hello, everybody, and welcome to That Tom Clancy Show. My name is That Tom Clancy, and well, this is my show. So, it's been another crazy week. Again, there's a lot going on in the world and everything, and a lot of it is terrible. I'll save talking about it until, like the end of the show or something along those lines. I do have a guest today. He's in the wings waiting right now, but don't worry, we'll get to him in a moment. There has been a lot of pretty fun gaming news for this week, so I would be remiss if we didn't at least do a lightning round with actual sound effects this week. So, same rules, news stories. Gonna go through it one breath. Here it goes. Niantic has announced plans to use user photographs to better blend Pokemon and Pokemon Go's AR mode. Can't wait to see all the Gardevoir dating pics. Formula E driver Daniel Abt cheated by having an esports driver take his place in the most recent race. Turns out his mistake was hiring a better driver. Following concerns of coronavirus, Blizzard made the decision to cancel BlizzCon 2020. It's too bad because I was looking forward to all the cosplaying protesters. And finally, Pyramid Head of Silent Hill will be joining Dead by Daylight. When asked for comment, it simply replied, "At least someone is making a game with me." Those do not get any easier. So, now that the lightning mode is done, let me go ahead and introduce my guest. Today, I'm joined by a games industry veteran and organizer of hashtag 30DayDev, an endeavor started to inspire independent and first-time developers to bring their game ideas into reality. Most recently, he launched hashtag Pitch a Game to bring attention to the work of developers from around the world, and it is my pleasure to introduce to you to Mr. Liam Twos. There we go. Hey, Liam.
Hey,
Hey, how's it going, man?
good, thank you.
Well, here, hold on a second. Have a little bit of applause to go with it. I'm well. I'm well. Apparently, my lung capacity is growing as this week's lightning round was a little bit less. What's the word I'm looking for? Stressful than last week's. So, yeah. As I said, you in the introduction, you're an industry veteran, 30 day to pitch a game. Why don't you, in your words, tell us a little bit more about yourself than I got in a little like 3 sentence snippet?
Wow. Well, I've been making games all my life basically, so this is my jam.
That's fair.
So yeah.
I don't know if you knew this about me, but I am actually a big fan of games. So this is pretty cool. But yeah, one of the first things that I've gotten to know you for over the years has been the 30 Day Dev program. I know that you've been on and off again with it lately. And my friend Andrew in chat, the Solid Hair, has asked, do you program art and design and all of that?
I'm a solo developer. Yeah, I do have the occasional help. But like my latest development I'm doing is Gamma 50, and I'm doing both the art and the development.
Nice.
So
Is that the one you've been posting GIFs of that recently on your Twitter?
That's the RTS one, that like going back to the classic RTS.
Yeah, it definitely has like kind of a cool retro aesthetic.
Yeah.
And also, hi Andrew. Good to see you.
I love it. The best part of it is that elevation, though.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just,
As somebody who has pretty much zero idea on how you do something like that, I have a lot of respect for that. As you can see, I really only work in 3D, and I don't make games. I I made whatever this is, but hey, still fun. But yeah, I mean, really, the big thing has been recently hashtag Pitch a Game. So yeah, so where did that come from?
Well, I've recently just basically had to resign from my work because obviously COVID, for the last 2 years I've had severe anxiety and depression, and I've been fighting that a long long battle. And I normally work in the NHS as well, so I save lives, if you guess, during the day, and then during the night, and then I was making games for the rest of the time.
That's
But
National Health Service, right?
yeah. And obviously it's been really difficult to get back. So I've had to basically just make the decision to kind of say, no, I've got to play to my strengths right now, and that's not my strength. So, because the anxiety's hit me hard. So, but I did get out in the garden today, so that was good.
Very nice. Anything
Yeah.
in particular in your garden that you're super what's the word I'm looking here for? Fond of or proud of?
Wow, I mean, I'm not into gardening.
No.
Let's put it that way. But I
I'm
mean,
not either.
it gets done if you like, I suppose.
Do I have this little
And I'm not
teeny
really
one?
fond of the sun either.
Of what?
Of the sun.
Oh, yeah. I'm not either. I mean, it's nice, and I appreciate the free energy and heat that it provides us, but the
Yeah.
UV radiation, I could kind of,
Yeah, the
you know,
radiation. That's the issue with me.
yeah. Well, it's
I
like
need like factor
also,
50 on,
yeah, dude, you can't see it here, but like I've got the whole like tattooed up arm, and yeah,
Yeah.
I fully understand because that sun is the natural enemy of
Yes.
awesome human customization. Uh, but
Yeah.
well, thank you very much for one being here, for two sharing, your just brief discussion there about your anxiety and depression, because it's something I know I struggle with on the pretty much on the daily, is how much am I comfortable sharing with people, because that's a fight that I've also had for a very long time, and only over the last few years have I actually done something real about it. And I kind of wish I had done it sooner.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the same for me. It was just one day when you wake up and you're just completely empty and devoid of any feeling. And then it's like, you need to go and do something, get help.
Yeah, I know that feeling all too well.
Because normally I would I'd throw myself into my game dev and it'd be fine. I'd bury my head in code and listen to CDs that I like and stuff. But then this time around it was like, no, nothing. I'm not entertaining anything. So that was a red flag to me.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah,
if you need to talk to anybody,
exactly.
you got me.
Yeah.
And the same generally goes for everybody out in the audience too. If you guys
Yeah.
are having like something crazy going on, and I've got free time, even if I don't, shoot me a message on Twitter, and I'll be glad to at least be like, hey, someone here is listening. And that's one of the great things about therapy, at least in my experience, has been that sometimes all you just need is a person to say things out loud to not feel like you're crazy.
100%. Yeah.
So yeah, if you need somebody to talk to, you got me at Tom Clancy. You know how to spell it correctly because it's on the Twitch channel.
Yeah.
And man, I swear, if anybody ever says Thom to me again, it's not going to go well.
The question about therapy and getting help and books and podcasts. Find help is it's an odd one, but I did a lot of self-help, and I think that is a big thing. Once you get the strength, doing the self-help is where I really changed things. Like, for example, I made a board. I got a cork board and stuck loads of pieces of paper with everything that was in my life on that board. And I nicknamed it the Chaos Board because that's literally what it was. And then I basically slowly took everything away until I was left with stuff that I could manage with. And that helped massively because you don't realize how much you you get involved with.
Yeah. For me personally, it was just reading fiction.
Mm.
Like cork boards and stuff don't really work for me
Yeah, that's
because
the thing. It's one
yeah,
thing for one, innit, and another for another.
yeah. There's no one size fits all kind of.
100%.
I'm not even going to say treatment, but there's no one
Yeah,
size fits all kind of
no, absolutely
salve
not.
for
Yeah.
things. So like when I was in my darkest point, for me, what got me through it was John Scalzi, Marco Cluse, and James S.A.
Mm.
Corey. Reading novels from those authors. I was reading 2 or 3 novels a week. So,
Yeah,
and that really kind of helped put things in perspective, and at least well enough for me to get out. And then I've been seeking personally a lot of professional help over the years. Uh,
yeah.
so, like, I have my quarterly psychiatrist appointments and all that
Snap.
jazz.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Better
good.
living through chemistry, as some people would say.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, um,
But yeah, every dark cloud, sometimes there's a silver lining. So,
yeah,
and that happened.
yeah. And yours appears to have been pitch a game.
Yeah, hundred
Um,
percent.
I
And
will
then,
say a couple of
yeah,
the things that have really surprised me out of the hashtag is the number of non-English speakers that have joined in on things.
I'm
Uh,
impressed as well. Very
we
impressed.
It's so cool to see developers and creators from places that we generally don't see. I mean, so much
Mm,
of the internet caters to white English speaking men,
yeah,
and to get these games and these stories coming to us from, I'm not even going
from
to
the
throw
far
out,
reaches.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
from
Yeah,
India, from Indonesia.
yeah.
It's amazing.
I was, I know it was. It was literally. It blew my mind. It was like, wow, it's just gone international. It's like crazy, crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there were just, it's so interesting too when you look at the games from outside of the Western world that make it to us.
Mm,
Things like this War of Mine, which take that formula
yeah,
that has been so successful for us, but has a completely different connotation in different parts of the world. To see
yeah.
the idea of war games, which for us have all been about heroism and
Mm,
the triumph over evil, and then having that entirely flipped,
yeah.
and seeing all of it from a perspective that we have been, for the most part, blessed to never
Yeah.
have really seen.
That was It was an amazing game. It really was. The characters, I, I got so close to the characters on that game that when like my first character kind of like perished, I was in bits because that person I'd gone a long way with,
Yeah.
and I
Um,
made one wrong decision.
I kind of felt similarly to the family in Papers, Please, with that
Mm.
notion of no matter how well you do, there was no possible way of winning.
Wow.
And it's just
I don't think I've ever played that. No.
oh, I love Papers, Please. It's
Mm.
my wife isn't very big into video games at all, but that's one
Yeah.
of the games that I was able to kind of share with her. So, I was already enamored with the game before that, but then when there came this moment to just kind of naturally share something with her, it just
Mm.
became even more important. So, like, I mean, it's on literally every computer that I own. So no matter where we are, if
Got
she's
it.
like, "Hey,
Yeah.
let's play some Papers, please,"
Mm.
bam, there it is.
That's cool. Yeah. Love
Yeah.
to play it.
Um,
I'll add it
you
to
know,
my Steam backlog.
God, don't even talk to me about
Yeah. I,
that.
I'd have to give up game dev to do that, and that ain't happening.
No, I mean, I felt bad because I took the time to play Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and I was
Yeah.
just like, oh, I have all of these features. I want to get into the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Like
And
I still don't have elbows. I still don't even, I still haven't figured out how I broke my hand animations.
oh no.
They're there. I should be like flexing my hands right now, but nope.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah, nothing. But you know what? They're still there. They're
Mm.
still expressive, and that's what
It's
matters.
so cool. It really is
Um,
cool. It's clever.
Yeah, one day I'll probably do a video where I like actually talk about how I do
Mm.
this, but for now, no.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
now, I
exactly.
want to.
That's feature creep anyway. Don't do it. Don't do it.
No, I want this to be my little secret because I'm not doing it in alt space. I'm not doing it in VR chat. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
this
Yeah.
is this is this is my custom thing. Uh, um, yeah. So clearly, you had a very good turnout for pitch a game. Would you label it a success?
100%. Yeah, yeah. Massive success. Massive success. I
How
mean, it's
many?
just broken 20 million views.
What?
20 million. So that's 20 million views on people's games, and that to me is immense.
I'm sorry.
You only have to look at the hashtag.
Yeah,
You know, you
that's
only have to look at it.
dude. If I had something that hit 20 million views, I think I would be a bit more. What's the word I'm looking for here? For pardon the pun, but animated.
Oh my god, I'm swimming at the moment. I literally can't. Yeah, it's like I'm drowning in Twitter. Help me.
God, well, dude,
It's good.
I mean, super congratulations. I'm sorry I didn't pitch anything. Um,
Hey, there's time. There's round two coming up in on the 30th of June 2020. The only
yeah,
thing is that it's a long time away, and I'm
well,
like itching just to hit that button. It's like,
I gotta hit my partner on this one because I have a friend who's originally from Scotland, but now he lives in the UK. He always lived in the UK, but now he lives in England. Um, and we've been collaborating over the years on various things.
oh,
And we
nice.
had like the short version of it is Time Crisis in VR.
Nice.
So like taking that like kind of action shooter for
Oh
that
wow.
we were also loved from the arcade days and bringing that into VR is something a little bit more immersive and whatnot. But then I discovered that there's this game called Compound, which was made by one
Okay.
person and is better. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
let's do something else. So now I
Imposter
kind of
syndrome.
I mean, it's just it. I played it, and the movement mechanics on it are a little jarring for me personally. But he does offer the opportunity for the teleport stuff too,
Cool.
which I haven't actually played around with. But it's so brilliant and beautiful and fun, and I was just like, one, I want to get this person on my show, and two, I need to come up with a new VR game.
Yeah, yeah, it can have that effect on you. I remember in I think it was 2011, 2012. I was making a dungeon crawler engine, like your Eye of Beholder stuff, and it was going really well. And then Legend of Grimrock stealth bombed out of nowhere,
Oh,
and so then that was it. I canned the project because I thought I'm not going to be known as a Legend of Grimrock clone.
dude,
I,
and
I've played these games back to the day, like the early days,
God, that's
and
always the worst, man.
yeah, I took it bad. But I now looking back, I think I should have just rolled with it and just, but yeah, because I could have, I could have rode that little wave, but I
Yeah.
took it bad.
Well, unlike
But
with
we live and learn, don't we?
Compound, yeah, we're nowhere near anything even remotely looking like early access. So it makes it really easy to pivot and find something else. Uh,
Yeah,
so it's like for me, it's a
100%.
matter too of finding those like alternates.
Mm.
Like
Yeah, yeah. I think
finding that itch that hasn't been scratched yet.
Yeah, and I think it's important not to kind of commit yourself to something too far in until you're certain that it's like what you want to do. Like prototyping is the best part of game development for me because you know whether you're going to carry that project on and you can instantly find out whether it's fun or not or whether it's just not going to work because
Yeah.
things work great in your head and on paper, but then as soon as you put them into a game it's like, wow, this is not fun.
Yeah, pretty much. Our little initiative that my friend Gavin and I have started together, we call it Fail Fast. Uh,
Fail faster.
yeah, the idea being that the faster we can fail at something, the faster we can start something new.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um,
I mean,
a
I
yeah,
still, I mean, obviously, still still try and finish stuff, because that's one big thing, isn't it? It's like, the finishing is half the battle. Well, most of the battle, actually. It's 80% of the battle.
Yeah. Okay. You twisted my arm, and I guess we'll do it. You can let go now. You can let go. No, sorry. Bad physical humor works better when there are actually people here. Uh, yeah, let's see what else I got. So, for moving into round two, uh,
Mm.
clearly there's hope. Well, hopefully, you're going to get more people. That 20 million. Let's set that as like a foundation. Let's aim for more.
Yeah,
So to
yeah.
speak. But for the people who didn't get a pitch in on time, what are some tips you can give them to help improve the quality of their pitch? Like,
Well,
what are you looking for?
for example, I'm not like your publisher. I'm not on that, but we have got part of Team Pig. We've got people that are publishers on board, and they're dealing with that side of the pitching. For me, I'm looking at like data and stuff like that, and the scientific model and stuff. Like, when I was drilling through the data last night, I noticed that like 90% of the tweets didn't have a link. That's a big amount. Um, and even if you take half away of those, like 50% of those tweets, then you're still left with quite a big number. So yeah, a solid action, solid call to action, solid GIF, solid image. Do you know what I mean? And a nice structure to the tweet as well. Plus, giving a targeting the right audience as well, because there's so many different pitches you can make. For example, I mean, this is all going to go into the guide as well before the round gets live. So hopefully it will give people a better chance of making a better pitch, because we've obviously realised, that and it's good because they're going to make even better pitches next time. But for example, I've forgotten where I was going with that now. But yeah, no, it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
All right. So you want a link to somewhere, preferably
link to
like
somewhere.
a landing page for the game.
Yeah.
Or the team.
So for example, all right, yeah, I was going on the basis of like who you're targeting. So for example, if you're targeting, let's say players, let's start with players. Targeting players, you've got to think about the hashtags that players are going to be looking at. So for example, you don't use things like game dev and stuff like that, because that's different game devs. Use things like RTS, hashtag arcade game, hashtag, all the things that people are going to be searching for if they're searching for a game, hashtag co-op, hashtag, if you're targeting a publisher, you might use stuff like, I can't think of anything now. Let's say with funding, then if you were doing investor, you'd go hashtag funding, hashtag, so basically you're targeting the message that you're putting forward to the right people. Plus, we're also we're opening it so that people can make private pitches for anyone that's uncomfortable making a public pitch, and for anyone, for whatever reason, mental health, etc., is a big thing. So we want to be able to give the option should they need it.
Damn, dude.
Yeah,
It's like
good.
It's like you know what you're doing.
We do. We're geared up for round two. I'd go with it tomorrow. I'd hit the button, but that's me. I'm very kind of like impulsive.
No, we've been
And
talking back and forth as we've been getting
yeah,
ready for the show all week, and pretty much every moment of the conversation has been underpinned by that anticipation of round two.
yeah.
I
And
mean,
and I'm looking at it. I'm thinking, is it too long? Is 30 days too long? Can we keep the buzz going for that long, or is it? But then it's like, the suspense. And then
well, at the same time, I feel like, especially as it's only the second one, you need
yeah,
to get you know experimenting with that 30-day waiting period in between is a great way to
yeah,
get a feel for the time frame you should be keeping it on moving forward. So if you find out that anticipation, or not anticipation, but engagement is still good after the 30 days, hey, what do you know? 30 days works. But, and if engagement's a little bit lower, maybe cut it down. But why am I telling you
yeah.
all of this? All of these things.
100%. I
And
mean, like the stats are live, so I can see when it's tailing off, and it's still going strong, still going strong.
I'm waving to my friend Victor, who just showed up too. I don't know if he
Ah,
just showed up, but he's here. Victor Lerp in the chat. He is one of our more famous friends of the show. He's one of the community developers for Unreal Engine. He's one of the
very
people who's responsible for me keeping up with this over the last like year or so that I've known him. So, hey, buddy, I want to have you on the show sometime too, because I think that would be fun, and we could talk about playing Rust together that one time.
yeah.
But yeah, oh man, yeah, the Victor Jew, he's good people. He's one of the main personalities for Unreal's many live streams.
Nice.
And Brian is here. Hi, Brian. Bad idea, Bri. He is another friend of mine. He's an actor from Toronto. I call his nickname at our house is Dead Body Brian, because my wife Misty wants to act, but she only wants to be a body in like crime shows. And so she wants Brian, aka Dead Body Brian, to teach her how to play a dead body.
Nice.
Yeah. She's a lovely lady with very high hopes. And really, I shouldn't say anything too loud because her office is like right over there in real space. And she's actually a therapist. So she's been very busy working at home during all of the during the pandemic. So and
Good
just
on
go
her,
to sleep. That's acting anyway. Okay, cool. I'll pass that along to her, Brian. I do want to take a moment here, especially since we have taken the time to talk about things like mental health, and since we had that wonderful little segue to talk to about my wife there for a moment, is I want to say a personal thank you to all first responders, medical professionals, doctors, nurses, all of the essential workers who have been busting their butts to make sure that everyone is as safe and healthy as can possibly be. And additionally, I want to take a moment to also say that I personally stand with all of the protesters in Minneapolis right now, because the hardest thing in the world is to see the people that we're supposed to trust abusing their power, and that's absolutely 100% not cool. And I'm saying it now, and I'm going to stand by it. I'm going to be making a personal endeavor to get more creators and persons of color on the channel, because as get somebody who got to play life on easy mode, I have a great opportunity to help signal boost the people that should be getting it. So not to say Liam doesn't deserve it. Liam's great, but moving forward, that's my personal goal. So you heard it here first. That's my commitment. There we go.
I think that's it. Just everyone's got the power to do little bits, and and every little helps. So,
the old statement of "to whom much is given, much is expected in return," and I've been given a lot, so it's time to start using it for good.
Yeah, and that's it. I'm the same. I work to support the industry as well as do my own thing, because I know how difficult it is.
Yeah, it really is. It's one of those things where it's just like you want to say something kind of smart in response, but there's really nothing to say, so you just kind of go, "You sound like an idiot." Yeah, but good always wins. God, I hope so, man. That's yeah.
The thing with this whole situation is, we may not have wanted it, but I tell you now, the world needed it. The whole COVID thing, the world needed it because it needed a shake-up. That's what it needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
We become complacent as humans. We take things for granted. We take life for granted. We take everything for granted. I mean, I know I do.
Yeah, it's really easy to think that because a thing has been with you for basically ever, that it will continue to be with you forever. but it's there are no guarantees.
Nope.
And trying to figure out a way to unironically say something like carpe diem, but thanks Dead Poet Society for ruining that one for us, or by making it excellent. Either way, but but the truth is we every day we have an opportunity to do some good, and we may as well
100%.
try and do it, and
Yeah.
that's part of what I want to do with this, as well. As I said when I had Rami on a couple weeks ago, is that I want this show to be a beacon of positivity.
Yeah.
Because I feel that there's enough, especially on the internet and on YouTube and all that stuff. There's already
Yeah.
enough stuff out there
Yeah.
that's being negative, and I want something
100%.
positive.
Yeah.
I want somebody to take this conversation or a joke that I say or what have you, and
Yeah.
hopefully, if I can uplift somebody for even just a few seconds, that's huge.
Well, that's it. I mean, that was the premise behind pitch your game. At the end of the day, I wanted people to feel good about themselves. You know, the amount of people out there right now making games and sat there. They'll put a tweet out there and they're literally tweeting and hoping. You know, and it's such a debilitating situation to be in. And so any kind of signal boosting that can be done in the industry, I'm all for, and that's why I launched Pitch Your Game. And look at the response, and that's the thing,
Yeah.
that because I'm basically taking someone's pain away from them. They're tweeting now, and they can have faith in the fact that someone is watching, the industry's watching, gamers are watching, because like even like Indie Game Lover and big names are starting to get on board, and that's brilliant, because then that means it's not just the game developers that are watching, it's gamers that are watching, which means your audience is watching.
This sounds like you're giving me an idea that I would now like to personally reach out to some of these people and try and bring them on here.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it. I love that. Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
and the
Amazing.
uh, one of the things that, oh, real quick, thank you for the follow, Andrew. And let's see, what does Brian say? That's a good point, especially with social media. It takes very little to give an unknown with good intentions a light push in the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
And hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Because I mean, every like and every retweet and stuff, if you get none, then you really are, it's going to affect you.
yeah.
If you
Um,
get none day after day after day after day after day, I mean, if you go to the hashtag and you search for the top, or if you do it the other way around and search for the bottom, which is quite cool, then you can, find some games that don't have any love on the hashtag, and give them some love, because it'll make someone's day, and it has made people's day. I'm scouring the hashtag to find like positive messages and stuff, and putting them all in a feedback form, and the amount of stuff that has come from it has been immense. Like people being put on top 10 indie games and stuff from hashtag Picture Game, and it they've woke up and they found that. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, and that sort of thing is amazing, because we rarely win awards and we rarely get any kind of like I guess recognition. So that's why I started it, because I wanted people to get recognition for what they do.
Liam, if there was a way to do this in a way that was uh, helped maintain social distancing and could be done through the internet, like I would give you the biggest hug right now,
Oh,
because
thank
that
you.
is like legit one of the coolest and greatest things I think I've heard a person say in a long time. Um, yeah,
And it's moving. It's moving. It really is. It's like I'm sat here thinking, like we done good. So yeah, on to round two.
yeah,
So
I can't
we
wait.
can make some more people happy. And we've got other big plans in play, coming into fruition, hopefully, which will really, really make people happy. So yeah, watch this space. That's all I can say. I can't say anything just yet, but
Yeah, and
we're
it's
gonna, this is just the beginning.
there's now a Twitter tag for Pitch a Game, right? It's at Pitch a Game.
Yeah, so there's at Picture Game and there's also at Team Pig. Team PYG is the people behind it. I had the idea, I launched the idea, but I got some people, a collective together, and we became Team Pig.
Nice. I'll make
Now,
sure.
actually, yeah, we should talk about the story behind that as well.
Okay. Yeah, but real
Because it's
quick, for the YouTube viewers out there, there's at least like one of you. I'll be putting links to everything down in the description box below. For everyone who's watching live right now on Twitch, I'll be posting links to all of this, or at least tagging everything in a post-show tweet. So, yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, of course, man. Like, again, use the platform to help boost others. And it's, yeah. All right. So you were saying a story about the team.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like I didn't think to run the idea through an acronym. So when obviously I was, I came up with the idea of hashtag Picture Game after hundreds of different options. And then I was, I'd set up the kind of little group and I was about to say like hashtag team and then I was shortening it. I was like, oh my God, this says Team Pig. And I'm like, Team Pig. And I was like, oh no, what have I done? However, after a few, after we launched round one, we kind of thought, do you know what? We need to roll with this. We need to make it a part of it because it, and so now the pig is our mascot. So,
Nice.
there you go. So,
Accidental awesome.
Embrace it. Embrace the crazy. Because
yeah.
It is, it's good.
Yeah. When I was starting to get myself back into game development a few years ago, I had this notion that I should make something serious. And a friend of mine who knew me very well was like, "Why are you trying to make serious things?" And I'm like, "I don't know, because I feel that's what people want to see." He's like, "Screw that. Make what you want to make. You're a weird dude. Make weird things."
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. I made a performance capture podcast. Oh man, that said though, like
it's so quirky. It's nice, and that's the thing is, you're not going to stand out unless you do things like this. I think that the pig, for example, it's such a cool little thing. It's just like, and the thing is, he's an elevator. Well, I'm saying he. It's not he. It's they. It's like it's an elevator pig. That pig is looking. Is standing waiting for your elevator pictures. At the end of the day, that is the whole point. And it just adds that quirky, relatable element to it.
I'm watching myself in all of this stuff right now, and I've got to figure out what to do with these hands. This is just, yeah.
Funny.
Victor, if you're still here, you're like my Unreal friend. Could you help me with that? And yes, and Brian, I know that I don't have like any crazy commands or anything set up, and I don't have bots.
You've got no command set up, right?
No, I
don't.
what's
going on in the chat?
Well, it's Starbucks shut down my store for about a month and a half. And so during that time, I spent that time working on the VR shooter, and then I also made the push to hit affiliate on Twitch because I was, really close. So I made the push, I got it, and there's like 4 things that I'm kind of like working on at relative equal priority level. So like at any given time, there's something that needs to be done for the show. There's something that needs to be done for the stream. There's something that needs to be done for the game. And then I generally have something to do around the house. And generally it's the stream and the house that don't get the thing done.
Yeah.
So, priorities. Yeah, I think I have no bot. I'm the bot. I am the fun bot. That is me. All right. So that's pretty much all I have set up for questions and stuff. If anybody in the audience has anything that they'd like to ask Liam about Pitch a Game, or I don't know, uh, anything within reason and relevant.
Yeah, yeah. I can't give
So
spoilers.
I get to ask irrelevant questions. That's my job. Uh, and trust
To
me,
also put it into context as well.
I have my irrelevant questions for you.
Cool.
Because you were there for the Rami show, so you know you're up for the 5
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah.
So it took me a while to come up with them, and I have a very specific order for them. The last one is the most important.
Okay.
Just so you know. All right. Well, it seems that we don't have any other questions from the chat, which is totally fine. But you know what? We'll give another like 30-ish seconds or so on that. Other than that, let's see. So, what if you could talk about like one pitch that really stood out to you, and without violating any secrecy or anything like that, what was it?
To be fair, I would have to probably say the Vember game, because it stood out so much. And it's just been, and then Rami got on board with it, and it's incredible.
Oh, was that the Indian cooking one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Rami retweeted that. Excuse me. I saw that Rami had retweeted that one, and what was most captivating about his tweet was when he said, "I can smell everything they're cooking."
Yeah, and I absolutely love that comment, because
Yeah,
that
and I
was
was
just,
like, "Yeah, that's the best comment anybody can make
yeah.
about a game about cooking."
Yeah, and you know what I find crazy as well is, like, if that person had tweeted that just in general, they wouldn't have maybe got the engagement that they did. And that's what the beauty of the hashtag is because the team pig that are behind it, which is me and a ton of other people. I'll try and send you the link to share, because the people behind it are cool. But we all work in the industry. We all, we're all living it, breathing it, and we want people to do good. So these people that are in the team pig have got their eyes on it. So you've got our eyes on it, and then not only that, but people are obviously tweeting it regularly, which means other people are now interested, and that's only going to make it better. And we've got things in works to kind of, without giving anything away, to make life very exciting for people making games. Because
Nice.
I think it's massive, massive. To wake up and get like a tweet from Rami Ismail. Much love for Rami. It's been a real support for me, and to have that, it's gonna make someone's day, if not year, if not career. You know what I mean? It's just,
Yes.
you know.
um,
So,
a,
and I really can't wait to find success stories from the back of the hashtag.
nice.
And there are going to be some.
Yeah, I remember the day that Rami followed me back on Twitter, and
Oh my god,
I lost it. Like,
yeah,
why is he following me?
yeah.
We were talking last night, and it's like I fully stand by the fact that my Twitter following and my internet friends are way above my pay grade. Because like I have done nowhere near anything cool enough or enough to have some of the great internet friends that I do. And so it's just like, so I fully understand what it's like to have to wake up and have a retweet or a like from somebody like Rami
100%.
Ishmael. Like one of my personal favorites was last year. I tried vlogging for a couple months, and that was hard. But I woke up one morning and I had a favorite, or I had a like from Casey Neistat, who's like the king blogger, and I just like I pretty much had a heart attack right there on the spot.
It's the thing. That's the thing with Twitter. What I love about Twitter is everybody is in some ways equal, because you can reach out to people and they get back to you. Do you know what I mean? They can respond.
Yeah.
Not everybody will, but if if you're not, if you're giving value and stuff, or if you're tweeting with intent or with, good purpose, then your chances of getting a response and stuff is very high, and I love it for that reason. I think it's great to be able to reach out to people.
Yeah. It is but like everything on the internet, it's a double-edged sword. But at least in my experience, the
100%.
internet, Twitter has been an excellent place, and I do my best to help maintain it as an excellent place. So, and that goes back to our point earlier: the impact of attention, even a simple like, how profoundly it can influence a creator, artist, etc. Yep. And Brian, especially you are one of my favorite Twitter friends. And I'm not just saying that. He took me out to a sushi lunch in Toronto a few years ago when I was in town randomly to get a tattoo. So, and he did not need to do that. And that was awesome.
I love sushi.
But, oh yeah, sushi's so good. I miss it. I miss, huh?
I don't have any tattoos though.
Hey, you know what? That's fine, man. As I said with Romney a couple weeks ago, not everyone needs to get tattooed. They aren't for everybody, but for the people for whom they are for, they are a fun personal or a form of expression.
I think it's brilliant.
And I have 2 video game tattoos, so yeah, I got a couple of Pokemon right here. My favorites, Sandshrew and Sandslash, because they look like pangolins. I've got the Normandy on my thigh, and then I also have a pangolin on my calf. So, I mean, I do love pangolins. So now that we have kind of gone through all of the important parts of this show, I don't have arms, Clancy. You're a floating head and hand. You know what, man? You're right, Brian.
You look like Rayman, but with robot. Robot Rayman.
Yeah, the head was inspired by another piece by the same artist who did my wonderful Super Mario World back there.
Nice,
and he's on my long list of people to bring on the show because he's an excellent artist out of Germany, and he does all this great stuff in VR. And when he is on the show, I'll probably post a picture of that piece back there. But then I also wanted to get some touches of Fully Cooley in here and a little bit of Halo. Just wanted to get some things and a little bit of an iMac with the soft colors and, the things that really kind of helped influence me.
That's cool. Yeah.
So with that, we're going to move into the most important part of the show, the 5 questions. All right. You know the rules here. There are no wrong answers except when they're wrong. And you are not going to be scored on any of these questions. So
good, because I might fail.
Number 1, would you rather live in a space station or an undersea colony?
Ooh. I'm going to say space station because I find space really, really exciting. I find water terrifying. So yeah, let's say space. Yeah.
Okay. Can you pitch me a game about isopods?
Yeah, it'd probably be similar to Spilt Milk Studios, where they're doing the crabs. Check it out; it's really good. And just change them for isopods. So it's like an Agar.io.
I was expecting more, but okay.
Yeah.
What was the last book that you read?
It was Hugh Howey, the second one of his Silo series.
Okay.
Shift. Brilliant books.
Nice. If pitch a game was an ice cream flavor, which flavor would it be?
It'd be like a Knicker Block of Glory, like everything.
Okay.
A little bit of everything.
And last question. Can you get me knighted?
Can I what?
Get me knighted. The sword and the whole sir thing.
I could do that. Yeah, actually, I probably could. I do know a knight in the games industry. So.
Well, then we'll have to talk about that off the air.
Yeah.
But
Let's make that happen. I'm gonna
dude,
try and make that happen for you, man.
oh no, man, believe me, because like there's so many reasons why I think that would be hilarious. Uh,
Uh, I have
and
much love for knights and the whole medieval thing and jousting and all that lot. If I could, I would. I would.
well, my dad managed to make it as to be an honorary yeoman warder. You know, the beef eaters, the
Wow.
dudes in like the red outfits at the Tower of London. I have to
Yeah.
throw that part out there for my American audience because they didn't spend as much time in the UK as I did growing up. No offense, you guys. My dad was crazy, and that's what we did. We went to England and we went to Colonial Williamsburg, and that was our summer vacation, all while listening to his latest book on tape. I wish I was kidding about that last part, but I'm not. Uh,
Mm.
so I just think it would be great if he hit Yeoman Warder, if I could then hit Knight, because I think that kind of wins.
Yeah.
Not that
I'll
it's
see
a
what.
competition, but winning is fun. But yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Like, the Queen would like me. I'm a generally charming guy.
I've just seen Bad Idea Bry. Hasn't got any questions, but he did say sending someone my way. Hmm.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. Brian knows a few people.
Cool. That's really good.
Yeah.
Where,
Again, Brian is another one of those good dudes on the internet who is
yeah,
about trying to help boost and bring everyone up. And he
yeah,
also does a very good job in his short films of getting diverse actors in there too. Um,
good.
and I may or may not have appeared in one of them as a voice, and I may or may not have also helped him in writing another couple as well.
Mm.
So, hey, help your friends,
Yeah,
right?
we should talk.
Yeah.
It'd be cool.
So, Liam, uh, thank you so much for being here.
Thank
It
you for
was
having me.
awesome to get a chance to actually sit down and chat with you and something that mimics real life. Um, and I mean, because this is the first time we've ever really talked outside of social media, so it was
100%.
really
Yeah.
just fun. Sorry that I'm stuck in the internet and I'm a robot person. Uh, other than that, everybody in the audience, again, thank you for coming out. Thank you for the new follows
You,
today. YouTube folks, stick around after we do the little outro here. We'll have a little bit for you afterwards. And I actually mean it this time because I actually uploaded all of the previous episodes that had video onto YouTube. And yeah, so you can actually go watch those old ones with video, as opposed to the two that didn't have video because I'm an idiot. Uh, those are just going to be lost to the ether. So, Liam, where can people find you real quick?
at Liam2s on Twitter.
Oh, so I've been
Oh, yeah,
saying
yeah.
it.
Oh,
So I've been saying it wrong all along.
hey, don't worry about it. It's fine.
Okay.
Do you know what? Actually, one last thing. Somebody actually asked me that question. How do they pronounce my surname? And I was like blown away by that and I told them it's two's like the number two, or like like two's up, or that sort of thing. So yeah, I
Yeah,
was blown away.
I just assumed because English.
Yeah, English is
uh,
weird. Yeah,
and now I am the asshole.
our language is just yeah.
Well, yeah, English really is. Real quick, brief side. On the History Channel here, we have a show called Vikings. I don't
Oh
know if,
yes,
yeah. Um,
my favorite show.
and
One of
when they finally make it to the UK and they're speaking in Old English, my wife, who speaks German and Danish, was like, "Why do I understand them?" And I'm like, "Oh, they're speaking Old English." And she's like, "What?" And I was like, "Wait a second. Is there something about languages that I know that you don't know?" And it was just really fun for me to have that moment of that moment of knowing a little bit more about a Germanic language than somebody who speaks German. So
I did not know it was Canadian. That's cool.
I didn't know it was Canadian either.
Really good
Well,
show though. I love it. Yeah,
whatever.
just
Um,
about season 6 to watch. I think.
you know what? You also made The Expanse, and I thank you for that one too. But we do steal your best actors, so Imagine that I'm sticking my tongue out at you, Brian. We won't be giving you Elias Tufexis back anytime soon. So
Canadian Irish co-production, right?
And you know what? Hey, I'm primarily of Irish descent, so I guess I should just be thanking myself. Uh, all right, guys. Thank you all for joining us. We've had a lovely chat with Liam Toos.
Been an honor.
It really has been. I can't wait for round 2 of Pitch a Game.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
I'll even
Me
throw
neither.
something in there.
Yeah.
And
for it.
I'll be in touch with you about getting in touch with some of those people. To get
Yeah,
them
cool.
possibly on the show.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Absolutely. And everyone else, we'll see you next time on That Tom Clancy Show. Hey everyone, thanks for watching the most recent episode of That Tom Clancy Show, though I guess some of you may have just clicked ahead to the end, and it's okay too, but you should probably have watched the show. Had a great talk with my friend Liam, but it's time for that bonus content. So earlier today, Sunday, May the 31st, 2020, I posted a little question onto Twitter asking people to throw some questions at me that they've always kind of wanted to know the answers to. I got a few responses. Going to go through them right now. First, and I mean, this isn't in a chronological order. This is in a fun order. First, Red Vonix asks, what is the correct way to cook a potato? Simple answer, baked, because you can do a whole bunch of things with a baked potato that you can't say with a boiled potato. Boiled potatoes are for mashing. Baked potatoes are for pretty much everything else. Skin on, too. Just, for the bonus fiber. Next question. David Gallagher asks, ever going to write some comics? Short answer is I would love to. The long answer is kind of silly and weird, and we should talk later about that. So yeah. And then the last question I got from at Jerry Brennan, what's your fondest memory of your dad? That's one I had to do a lot of thinking about. It's now about 6 hours after he asked this question. And I mean, there's, 30 years of memories between the two of us. And, I did a lot of thinking about it. And part of me wanted it to be something like the first time he took me to the National Aquarium or a baseball game. But the truth, and it's kind of it's a fairly emotional answer. Is the story I'm about to tell. As some of you may know, I'm a recovering addict and alcoholic. I've been clean for coming up on 15 years now. About just under 15 years ago, I checked myself into a rehab. The only people who knew I was there were my mom, my stepdad, and one of my older sisters. It was something I kind of wanted to keep private because, even 15 years ago, the stigma around being a drug addict was pretty much as high, if not slightly higher than it is now. Which is to say that it's crummy. It's terrible. But that's a discussion for another day. The kind of lead up to that is my parents went through a very long, drawn out, and fairly messy divorce when I was a kid, really through the entirety of high school. And then I went to college, and I just had a lot of issues with depression and anxiety. And I finally had a way to kind of self medicate. And so I developed, this problem. And I loved as a kid to throw it like at my dad and be like, it's all his fault. Like, that's the reason I'm screwed up. But it's not to say that that's inaccurate, because there is some level of truth to it. But I also just had neurochemistry issues, and you know, 'kay, even now I'm trying to like make this my fault. Um, but I had a problem and I didn't know how to deal with it. That's the simple truth of it, regardless of who was responsible for it. Um, I When I checked into rehab, I didn't want him to know about it for a couple of reasons. One, I was super angry at him for so many reasons. He never seemed like he cared about my life, so I figured he has no right to know about this big thing that was happening right now. And definitely too, because if any of you guys have ever read any of his books, I pressure you to find the passage where he looks kindly upon a drug addict or alcoholic. Um, Good luck on that one. I won't hold my breath. And knowing that, even though at the time I had read zero of his work, and just knowing that so much of authors comes through in their work, that I just I knew, I knew he didn't think highly of people who were in my position at the time. Um, so I didn't want him to know. And after a while, my counselor talked to me about it, and he convinced me to write him a letter. Um, the facility I went to was very much on cutting people off from the outside world, and pretty much your only really guaranteed way of talking with people outside was to write letters, which was kind of fun in like a weird romantic kind of way. But you know, so I wrote him a letter. It got to him fairly quickly. Apparently, he kind of freaked out a little bit, and he called the facility that I was at. They couldn't tell him anything because he was not on my approved contact list. Thank you, HIPAA. Uh, he then called my mom, and this is well after the divorce, and they didn't really have the best relationship afterwards. And he was very upset, and mostly that he didn't know about this. And he was kind of demanding answers and stuff. And then she got in touch with my counselor, who got in touch with me, and he says, "Why don't you just give him a call?" And I'm thinking like, "Oh shit," you know. He wants me to give him a call, and I'm gonna get yelled at, and that's a tendency I have. Um, I have a tendency to assume kind of the worst of a situation. I don't know why, and I work on it, but on the positive side about all of that, by assuming the worst, I prepare myself for it. So when it turns out to generally be okay, I get a nice big sigh of relief. Or I could just assume that it's not the worst, and but why grow as a person? Um, so my counselor sets me up in his office. He closes the door, and it's just me in there, and I have this phone, and I can call. And I was just so scared. I didn't want to do it. I wanted to sit there for a few minutes, pretend I made the phone call, and just be done with it, and just pretend the whole thing never happened and never talk about it ever again. But I did. I picked up the phone. I punched in the number, um, and he answered. And I have no idea what to say to the guy. Um, and I'm apologizing. I'm apologizing for being a failure, for being a bad son, for being for being me effectively. Um, and he just says, "It's like, Tommy, stop." By the way, he's one of two people in the entire universe that's allowed to call me Tommy. Um, and I practically guarantee you, if you're watching this, you are not that second person. That person knows who they are. And he says, "Stop." And I do. And he just says to me, "It's like, Tommy, today you proved to me that my son is a man. You admitted you had a problem that you couldn't solve yourself, and you reached out and you asked for help, which is the bravest thing that anyone can do. And it's just, I mean, it was this huge weight that just was lifted off of my chest. And it was this feeling that in all of that, in that like 2 minutes of conversation with him, I got the 22 years of parenting and just fatherly attention that I wanted. It was in that 10-15 seconds, we had come to an understanding of who the both of us were. And from then on, our relationship was completely different. I was no longer just this like angsty teenager, this angry person who had just no understanding of what that anger was even about. And we, from that day, we built a relationship. We kind of came to this as I said this just a minute ago. I'm rambling and I'm stumbling on my words, but we came to this understanding of who each other was, and it allowed us to move forward. And I won't say necessarily that we became friends, but we at least became the father and son that, in some semblance, that I always wanted. And I'm sure that is a much deeper and grander answer than you ever wanted, Jerry, but it's the one you got, because I'll be damned if that isn't the fondest memory I have of him. I mean, it's right up there with the last time I got a chance to give him a hug. It's right up there with anything else that we had ever done. So, yeah. Thank you all for watching. This is going to become the new norm, that every time I post one of the live podcasts here on YouTube, it's going to have this like question answer session. I mean, you don't have to throw me deep, crazy questions. You can throw me silly questions. Like, dude, I'll be honest, when I got the correct way to cook a potato question, I was so happy. Thank you all for watching. For questions this time around, go ahead and leave them in the comments down below. But please, before you do so, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, that bell. Helps the channel out a lot. And thank you all for watching. Keep an eye on social media. I'm really stumbling over this closing, but keep an eye on social media. It's where I'm going to start announcing all of the next shows. And don't forget, you can also watch live on Twitch. So once again, thank you all so much for being here and listening to me ramble. But until next time, I'll see you next time. That was horrible. I'll see you guys next time on the next episode of That Tom Clancy Show.